Meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
We live?
We live, baby. We live.
Oh, he got the video ready.
Oh, I thought we was live.
I guess we can talk during this. It don't matter.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
could.
because the video's for them. Okay.
I
Gotcha.
don't even sound. Are we supposed to hear the music? Hold on. Let me go to the Facebook page.
Now let me tell you this, boy. This video better be amazing.
It actually is. I enjoy making it, but it's just
It better be. You better have said everything I want to say. Better be in here.
Oh man, my man gave a soliloquy.
Yeah, I thought he wanted like a tragedy speech, so I just went and pulled out my.
But I do want to point out that it's not that Bell and whatchamacallit ain't said nothing.
What? Bell.
What up?
You didn't say nothing, bro.
But I do want to point out that it's not that Bell and whatchamacallit ain't said nothing.
I'm not even gonna acknowledge this idiocracy.
So our voices overshadow the video hardcore, but Usher's face is real big on my screen right now. But you can't hear it. But they can hear us talking shit.
That's why he's so smart. They say that a big forehead is a sign of smarts.
Dayra, I said I want to talk about light-skinned people today. I said I wasn't. Why would you do this?
I'm trying to make you retract your statement.
I saw that you turned the volume up, but that just turned our voices up.
I'm going to refrain from being the stereotypical man.
I'm trying to make you retract your statement.
But that just turned our voices up.
I'm going to refrain.
How about you just talk a little less loud, CJ?
Me? I didn't say nothing.
I mean, my bad.
Dang.
I'm so used to you being a screamer in the group.
Look at this guy.
Wow. What?
Us screamed the whole episode last time. But I'm
You right.
Yeah, man, come
You
on,
right.
bro. Don't get
Is the
mad
video
because,
playing?
Man.
because your insight can't get past me, boy.
It's irrelevant though. We can't hear the music. We can't hear you talking. Nope. We can't hear it. It's not usually like this. It's weird. It's not even playing.
Oh, I could hear you talking, Ron. I could clearly hear you. Oh, here they go again. There go the big forehead. He's trying to be the nice person he can be, people.
Oh, it's hard because I'm actually live, so I have to have sense right now. But when this screen go off,
hold on. Are you wearing the same shirt in the video as you are now?
Yes, yes, I am. Yes, I am. I changed out of this shirt when I went to the church, and I put this shirt back on when I got home.
Hey, best icebreaker ever. Thank you, Mr. Producer. This is gold. This is gold.
Black people, boy, this is hard. I gotta be
listen.
quiet.
We gotta let our audience know that at the end of the day, man, we still brothers. We go on here, we argue passionately, but we still brothers, man.
Beltran, why you made me say
real.
that I wasn't gonna say nothing, and then you keep saying stuff to ask me questions to make me say something? Why are you doing this to me? This is so tough right now. I'm trying to be good.
You said we were getting uncomfortable.
A good, in the words of CJ, Black Hebrew Christian. I'm trying to be a good one, and it's tough right now to be
I
that.
put all this work into this video, and we can't even enjoy it.
Ron, I told you ain't doing it on that video. Stop playing. I told you that already.
Ron, I'm enjoying it, bro. Third.
Yeah, whatever Ron was trying to do.
The producer messed it up. It's crazy we gonna flip that on to me.
Bill did not mess that up.
Yo,
He just tried to play what you already put together. You can't be mad at that man.
Hey man,
You
blame
see
it.
that? Ignorance.
See that, Bill? Hey man, you don't attack me, man. You already see
That was a whole good 3 minutes. Boy, I can see it right now live. Look at this. I get to play this back.
I hope when you play it back, it play with the sound.
It ain't. I'm playing it right now. It's just my forehead moving around.
You can't watch it from the beginning now. You watching it live, so you can't watch the past. You watching what we. Would you start the show, sir?
Yes. Can you start us?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of America, this is episode 20.
A day early.
A day early.
Why we a day early?
We're a day early because
You gotta let
the
the
co-CEO has something to do on Thursday, which may not happen, but that's irrelevant. You're here. You're here now. And the topic of our discussion tonight is simply entitled, getting uncomfortable. Now, we did have a video that was supposed to play before that 2 out of the 4 people on here messed up. I don't want to call their name or their color. However, they are lighter than me.
I like
But
that
the point
better
is-
than just me.
The point is, here we are,
I feel
getting
man.
uncomfortable. We all in your living room getting uncomfortable.
No pause.
Tonight's episode will not be what we normally talk about, but I expect you all to come with some comments, to come with some conversation, and to come with some control, because the 4 of us might be out of it.
Boom, boom, boom.
We
I
have,
like
of
that.
course, Ron, Belair,
Low
CJ,
G's.
and Ush. Starting off tonight, we will turn to CJ, because topic number 1 is hotter than the sun. It's colder than ice. And everything between doesn't make it nice. It says the right to bear arms.
I like
Should
that.
black people arm themselves? CJ, what say you?
This is a topic that's near and dear. The adrenaline is still flowing because I went to the range today, so it was dope that we did move it to the night, so I could be fresh off the gunpowder. If you know,
Oh man, my
But-
man sound deranged and looking for some change.
He was
But-
shooting
y'all
clowns.
remember?
I want y'all
Y'all
to know.
remember? I was.
Black
it's-
people
it's-
don't do that. I won't let it. I won't allow it just to set the tone for the night.
We don't shoot clowns.
All
Are
right.
you? All right. Well,
No, I thought he said crowds.
no, not crowds. Clowns.
Yeah, his paper
Yeah,
target was a
Excuse
clown.
Ron. CJ, continue,
Hey,
please.
yeah, you got to turn your speak up. All right, but y'all remember back on April 30th, when basically white people lost their mind and said that we're not staying inside no more, and they went to the congressional building with the Confederate flags and the Nazi flags and the nooses and all that stuff. You remember that? It was to the point where we had one of the mayors, Sarah Anthony. I was looking at her name, Sarah Anthony. Excuse me, she's not a mayor. She's a lawmaker. She had to be escorted in, bruh, by a black militia.
She did.
Like, and she said that she felt that she needed that. She said that she felt like the security that she was supposed to get wasn't going to be sufficient to what she was facing.
Right.
So I say that to say, even though she doesn't want to carry around a weapon, she still understands the importance that we also need to be trained for those weapons. So I said all that to come back around this. Even if you really don't like guns, you still should be educated on them. Even if you don't want them in your home, you still should know about them. And you shouldn't necessarily, I guess, tell someone what reasons why you should not have a gun. I mean, there are a million reasons why you should not have one, but if educated properly and you educate your kids at the right time, I think that is just beneficial. I really feel like let's say, before I pass it on, but like, let's say in Georgia, if a police officer is intentionally wrong, like if they're wrong, if they're harassing you, if they're, agitating you, you had a right to shoot them. Like, you can shoot a police officer in Georgia. Now, good luck actually letting that stick, but it is a law that says that if you can prove intent, you was trying to save your life. If you can prove that beyond a shadow of doubt, you can't get off for shooting an officer. So I know last week we was mentioning like ways that we could protect ourselves. That's a way that we could protect ourselves. Not necessarily to say that you want to get a gun just for the police, but it's a way to protect ourselves.
Wow. Before we move forward, can I read the Second Amendment?
Let's go.
If you all are not sure what that is, listeners, the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America from 1789, revised, of course, in 1992. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's all I'm gonna say right now before y'all keep going. That's all I'm gonna say right now.
Bill, I want to know what you think, man.
No, I'm gonna let Ron go.
No, but I want you to go, baby. You military man, like you fresh out.
So there, I want to rephrase a piece of the Constitution, and I don't want to mess it up because sometimes when people don't agree with you, they'll take you said a word wrong. You said so. I want to get it completely correct. So Ron, if you don't mind, go ahead while I look for this.
So I actually had presentations ready for this show, and I had a couple graphs that I was going to put on for y'all. But there was a major survey taken for gun owners in America. Per 100 residents, what do y'all think the total amount of guns purchased is? Per 100 residents.
Probably more than the residents.
I would say about 7.
7 per 100 people
Yeah.
in a community?
Probably over.
Well, what
over
community? What community are you talking about?
This is all of America. It's actually the whole world. I got ready to give y'all some numbers.
The
What's
whole
your guess? I got the numbers for the whole world, but right now we're talking US per 100. 110. Bell, what's your guess?
I got 65.
What was the question again?
Dang, you jumped from 7 to 65 quick. It don't matter.
We're talking about a particular community.
The number of guns that are possessed per 100 residents around America. It's a survey taken by BBC News Network, so it's pretty official.
Easily like 60 to 70.
So us was the closest. Per 100 residents, we own 120 firearms in America. The closest, Yemen, is 52. And everybody else just drops down. If we go to the top 10, the closest of relevance, Canada, right above us, is 34.7 per 100 to give it a comparison on what the US is like. So we have 4 times the amount of weapons in our house compared to our northern brothers in Canada. And my whole point through all these numbers is, hell yeah, you better have a weapon, because if you don't, I just told you that there's 100 people around you that got them. So if it go down, it's common sense at this point. But
to see another way.
It's crazy.
So, here's my thing. Because
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I will say, with the Constitution, with the reason that people, and it wasn't us, of course, because the Constitution was not written for us, of course, during that time. It was for Americans at that time were, of course, trying to break away as colonies from the British control. And so when we look at the well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the states were trying to remain free. The British were trying to take over the colonies. They said, look, you need to arm yourselves just in case our army, because the American colonies did not have a big enough army than Great Britain. They said, you need to arm yourselves and you become the army that we don't have, which is the right to bear arms. And then, of course, in 2008, there was a case in DC that there was a cop that he worked as a cop on duty, but off duty, he wouldn't take his firearm home. Well, in the DC area, it was deemed that you cannot take one of those firearms home. They said you cannot have a gun. He said it infringed upon his rights to bear arms. So he ended up losing to the state, but he won in Supreme Court. He won, and then that gave him the right to have that arms bear at home, even though they were trying to say there is no militia. We have a big enough army that takes care of us. He was saying, yeah, but it does not constitute me not to carry a firearm. And then there, of course, more laws and things were revised and written to where it became from a firearm to now other types of guns that you can have access to in your home. I have to agree and disagree. I agree that we should keep our rights to bear arms. My disagreement is the type of arms. There are certain arms we just do not need in our house as Americans, period. But in referring to Black
kind of
Americans,
arms do you feel those are?
I
like sawed-offs.
I love
it. AKs, like some crazy stuff that you know. You go
rifles. No
yeah,
shotguns.
like if you going hunting anyway, you're not going. I'm not done though. I gotta finish though.
Submachine guns.
Hold on. Yeah, like things like that. But here's the thing that I agree with though as well, because if they're gonna have them, then we should have the right to have them. Because if they walking around with them, I need to make sure I have them I'm not saying they're out to get us. It's not. Listen to what I'm saying, people. When I say this, I'm not saying white people are out to get us with these guns. But if you look at gun violence and you look at the violence of people that have them, that have done crazy things with them, the stipulation that they've had is in stipulation with the mental capacity of the person or a person that has some kind of arrest or criminal record. So the criminal records per se belongs to most of us, you know? So the mentally, I have not seen any test administered to see if somebody mentally can capacitate to carry a gun when they buy it. I haven't seen it. Maybe it's out there. I haven't seen it. So I'm kind of on the iffy side, because should we have them? Yeah, because they got them. And I don't know how crazy they might be to do what they want to do. And I don't have any protection for myself, because it's really, to me, not a protection against the cops. It's really against anybody else. So heck yeah, I need them. And I don't feel bad for saying that, yeah, I have to keep protected from my kids so they don't go into it and hurt themselves if I'm going to carry. But don't take away the right to carry. Black people, arm yourself.
Arm yourself, bro. You got to look at it like, just imagine, and us, we grew up in South Georgia, so we grew up with a lot of, we grew up with a lot of white guys. How early was them boys going hunting, bro?
Man,
it was going hunting.
10, 11. Even North Dakota, they do early.
9, 10, them boys know how to use guns already. So, right. I mean, why, if they're training, why aren't you training? Like, not to say you have to, but we have to. You really do.
We are all pro-gun. Belair didn't get to go in yet, but I know he's pro-weapon. We don't got nobody that's non-weapon on here. Do we got anybody in the chat?
No, nobody said they not. Go ahead, Belair. Say what you're going to say. Go ahead.
So, in the Constitution, I'm unable to find it right now. I don't have my full attention to it. But in the Constitution, it states that as a citizen of the United States, you have a duty and an obligation to uphold the Constitution once the government tries to take over too much power. If you look at a lot of the things that are going on, a lot of the bills that are trying to be passed, you can correlate them with socialistic communities around the world. Mm-hmm. Once you give the government too much power, we as a people, as stated in the Constitution, have an obligation to take that power back and give it to the people. Now, the easiest way to take power from the people is to de-arm them. So I refuse to allow the government to take my power to protect myself away, because as the Constitution states, I have that power. As my Second Amendment right, I have that power. Hold on. And when we start allowing the government to take away some of our rights, there's no ending. So there's no, I can't budge on that, because once you start, there's no stopping. Look at Britain. Great Britain made, first they started banning certain guns, then they started banning the uses and when you couldn't, permits, and now it's just illegal all across. Well, it hasn't stopped violence. Now you just create violence of other ways. Two, the criminals and their corporations, they still have guns.
Exactly.
That people still gonna have guns.
Exactly.
That's true.
So why not allow the good people to rightfully own their guns by permits, carrying, all that kind of stuff? Any kind of weapon, anything can be looked upon as a weapon.
Sure.
And without the proper training and understanding on how to use that weapon, that's when incidents happen.
No, I'm not going to let you tie that into our current situation. I caught what you just did.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I feel like the debate is finally starting. Because I want to ask you, Bell, you feel like that, but the question is, do you feel as though we should only be able to carry pistols and small firearms? You didn't answer the question. Should we be able to carry assault rifles, shotguns, submachine guns, anything else other than those classes? Grenades? Do we need these military licensed weapons in our homes?
First of all, grenades are illegal. You cannot carry grenades. That is part of a different explosive ordinance. And you have to have a special license. You have to have a special license to even own one. As far as a carrying permit, an assault rifle is no different from a handgun.
Okay, that's your answer.
If you shoot somebody with a 45, it does a lot more damage than a 5.56 to begin with. And when I say these numbers,
I love my assault rifles, and I love my shotguns, and I love the snipers, but I heavily disagree with you. I don't feel like because you brought up overseas Europe. I and Ush spent a lot of time in a country over there that was not allowed to carry weapons.
You're talking about snipers, but what you're failing
No, that's irrelevant. I'm not talking about snipers.
We're talking about the weapons that you can carry on you or publicly carry.
I just asked you a question. I said, do you think we should be able to carry sniper rifles? People carry hunting rifles.
You can't openly carry that in public. You can carry it once you get.
So now we're talking about in public. We weren't talking about. We're talking about, can you carry in your house?
That's not carrying.
See, here's my thing.
That's owning. So there's a difference
see,
between carrying and owning when you ask for a permit.
Go ahead.
Carrying means I'm bringing it out to the public. Owning
and that's where I
means
guess
that I can have it in my
confused.
house. Just like I don't need a driver's license to buy a car, but I do need a driver's license to drive it on public roads.
But let's
Same
get
way
back
with
to
a
that
weapon.
question.
I can
Get back to
own
the
a
question.
gun in my home for my personal protection, but I need a carrying license, which makes me have to get more education and more training to
But let's
vet
get
me
back
on
to the
being able
question,
to
though.
carry.
I like what Bel Air is saying, but let's get back to the question.
I don't.
Now we're talking about black people was the question. Should black people
What is the
carry
difference between black
these-
people and white people? You're still a
Oh,
citizen
black.
of the United States. You're still
Absolutely.
a citizen of the United States, so you have just as much reason to carry
here's
a
why.
weapon as any other citizen.
Here's why. And this is something that y'all are not bringing up, which I am glad y'all didn't bring up, because now I can open it up. Because CJ
What
alluded
you're
to a
saying
little bit.
is
No.
to
Let me
create a
finish.
militia
CJ
to arm black people and creating a militia.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. You let me finish. CJ alluded to this. It seems like everything you all saying in a perfect world makes sense. But I remember a young man that had a gun in his glove compartment that had the ability to carry this gun. He had the ability and the license to have this gun, and he still ended up dead. What you're telling me is in a perfect world, it makes sense for a black man to be able to carry a gun. But the reason we have this question is because can we really carry the gun without ceasing to exist ourselves? Can we legally carry the gun and not have to worry about traffic stops, seeing the gun, not caring about the permit, and I'm locked up, shot, killed, or whatever the case may be, all because my skin color does not match into the eyes of some people the capacity to carry a gun. They have to keep fighting through the legal process, fighting through all the process to prove to you I can do this as a citizen, you're saying, but it's obvious that we're not seen as citizens easily. Okay. Because if we were, we would have this question. We would not have had this question and said, a black man. We would have just said, can you carry a gun?
That you don't understand carrying regulations. So when you have a carry permit, right, part of the test states that once you get stopped in a traffic stop or any kind of altercation with a police officer, the first thing you are mandated to tell the police officer is, officer, I have a weapon on me and I also have my carrying permit.
Right. So in a perfect world, that makes sense every time I'm stopped to do that. But see, in a perfect world, that makes sense. But how many of us get stopped and there's nervousness in that end?
Yep.
There's other things I'm trying to worry about and consider. Where's my license at? Where's the registration? Where's my stuff at? I'm getting stopped by this person. I'm not making an excuse, but what you're saying is in a perfect world, Bel Air, which makes sense. But we obviously, as black people, do not live in a perfect world where all these scenarios make sense to us to be able to draw from. So I'm trying to create a narrative where we can get to that.
You are always preaching of fear. So
I'm not preaching fear, I'm preaching reality.
You are.
This is not fear, it's reality.
The way you depict this, the way you depict the scenario is that if a black man carries a gun, you will die.
That's not what I'm depicting. I'm saying, how can we carry it without having to worry about that? I'm saying, how can we carry it without having to worry about that? In a perfect world, it makes sense. But obviously, all the social issues going on, Bel Air, you can't see that it's not perfect for us. Of everything that's going on right now, you can't see that. That's what I'm saying. How do we get to that?
When I was in the market, and I reached out to, my mom, my dad, mentors, and the older generation, when you tell them what you're planning on doing, they're very, very cautious. Like, "Ooh, you sure?" Like the thought of a black man with a gun is nervous to us. Like, regardless if, I know you don't live in the world we live in, Bell, but it is true. Like, we could.
No, I live in a broader America.
We can spread the fear rhetoric.
Not in a small town.
Action's about to start happening.
But it is what it is. So, when you live on the broad, then we do live in the small town where it's happening at. Where you go Google and look at, that's what really at. But
so maybe we should address what happens in these small towns.
But with that being said, we need to
the norm.
With no matter, and I'll say this to say that we get murdered without having any guns on us at all. So if they're gonna kill us regardless, you might as well just use your Second Amendment right. I don't.
Right.
If you're gonna lose your life anyway, I don't understand what the fear is. And then, like I said earlier, they start their kids so early. Like, black people are really the only people that keep our kids from guns. And it's like, that's why we have those accidents in the homes where, like, let's just say in my mother-in-law's neighborhood, there was there was two brothers, and they were playing with the guns, and the younger brother shot the bigger brother in the head. And of course he's crying because his brother dead. But he said that I thought what happens to Daffy Duck, like I shoot him, I thought his nose was going to go backwards and he was going to be able to put it back. Like that's what a little kid thought. And it's like, we don't, let our kids know. Like we don't really try to educate our kids. We kind of hide it from them until they get of age, but not necessarily say let the kids play with it, nothing like that. But I feel like if you start educating your kids, just like other cultures do, I think that will be, I think our fear of guns, because we seen what the gun has done to our people. So we kind of have a fear of that, but we have to kind of get rid of that because they're getting rid of us anyway. So we got to learn the same tactics that they know, and the same stuff that they learn, we got to learn.
And that's what I'm saying. That's
so
what I was
so just like
saying.
it comes with responsibility of being a gun owner and having a child in your home. Just like when you become a parent, everyone goes to safeguard every electric plug in the house and educate their kids on don't touch this because this could happen. That same kind of education and preventative measures has to happen when you have a gun in the home. Make sure it's not accessible to your child. You have a car outside. The kid can grab the keys, get in the car, and kill somebody. Same difference.
Okay.
My last question is: of all these movies and TV shows and reality stuff that I've seen, I'm not saying it's going to go wrong. I'm hoping that everything goes right with any of you all that have guns and own guns and have kids and safeguard it. But there is a position of people that are against the NRA and against owning guns because they are worried about safety. They are concerned about the education part. They're concerned about the fun the gun show and not the actual protection it shows. So what say to you those people that on the other side that say get rid of them?
Can I let me end it, because I actually I want to be devil's advocate. Before we go on to what's our next topic? Get ready. Oh, black leader.
Yep, you good. Go ahead.
I never got to finish what Belair was talking about when he was talking about in England and whatnot with their gun laws, because I do know for a fact was blessed enough to live in Japan. We took all weapon rights. We took all military democracy, that's not the right word, but anything from Japan, all of their right to control a military away from them. And they are completely demilitarized as a cop force. Guess what? As a black man, when I was over there, CJ, you think I had fear that the cops was about to roll up on me?
I do.
Zero.
You really?
Never thought down in Tokyo, out running the town, there's no fear. You don't even really see them like that because that's not what they about. It's what they about, serving and patrolling. Us, me and you and I both lived in Italy. Right. Did you ever have a fear that the Italian cops was about to roll up on you?
Never.
All of these countries got demilitaries and less cop laws. We do need to bear arms in America because unfortunately, as America, this does not make sense that we need to carry weapons. This is not what we were put on this earth to do.
Very true.
We have to do it in America. And Bell, my whole point is, we never need to rally against the political party that's saying we need to control arms, because we do need to control the arms. Like dudes is running into Vegas and churches and just shooting up everything in movie theaters. We have a problem, but that problem needs to be solved. I think we are looking at it as gray. If you're saying there is control, then we shouldn't see the problem anymore.
So how many actual gun problems do we have with someone who shouldn't have a gun?
The last one wasn't the last one Las Vegas last year?
Okay, last year.
Okay. I haven't heard anything about any other countries that are going through these problems where people are running into mass institutions and just laying people out, unless we're talking about the Middle East.
So how funny that at one point in time, the media depicted that you should not bring your child to school because every school was getting shot, even though it was, the number was terrible. It should never happen once again. But it was 8 schools in a matter of like 6 months or something like that. Either way, there's millions of schools in the United States. So every time they depict one topic and they just put it in your face, they make you feel like that's the case every time.
But Bill,
you're kind of like, I don't want to say exempt from that, because not to say you don't love kids, but you don't have any children. So you couldn't
Different.
possibly understand how a person with children watching kids
More
getting shot.
kids
Bro,
die
it don't-
from
but-
faulty
but what is
vaccinations.
that? And I don't
But
like
you still
vaccinations
vaccinate
either.
your kids and
I
send them
don't
to school,
see, well,
right?
that's a whole different subject, bro. See, you don't know that. There
Talking
you
about
go.
guns.
There you go.
Talking
But
about guns.
we're talking about guns.
Said you don't love
Talking about guns.
But no, I didn't say. I said
I know,
didn't
I'm
say
just
that he
messing.
did not love
I
kids.
know.
But I'm saying, you can speak on it from a position of I don't have any kids, so all kids aren't getting shot.
That
So
panic
I'm
sets
cool with
in
it.
when you have kids.
Yeah, but I
It
mean, bro,
does.
if you see one kid get shot,
does.
like, bro, you holding your kid so tight, bro. Do you know how
Right.
do you know how hard and how long I hugged my sons after I watched that Amar Arbor video?
I understand, but if you can,
Like,
if I just continuously pound in your head how many deadly viruses there are in the air right now,
yeah,
I would make you want to live in a
Guns, though,
bubble
man.
and never.
Guns.
But what I'm saying is, it's the
Can't
way
compare the
that
two.
the news just.
No, Bill, you know what, brother? You are right, man. It's the media and the news. We do live in more fear than we probably should. No doubt. No, I
Yes.
cannot disagree with you at all on that. But we are justified in the fear. We're
Right.
justified, but we maybe shouldn't do it as much as we should, but we are justified. So, but I
Give a
feel you,
shout
brother.
out to Ethan Henderson. I love his comment. He said there are different types of attacks. Look at the train and bombings in Germany. People stabbing in England are using a van as a weapon. I do remember some of them. I remember the big dude that stopped the attack in England when the terrorists were trying to attack. But those are characteristic attacks too. We kind of
And
focus
I don't
on
want to
the
say you're
police.
wrong, Belair. I don't. It's just my concern is, again, I like I said, I'm all for it. Do what you got to do to take care of you and your family. That's what I'm saying. I want to put that out there, everybody. Do what you have to do in the business to take care of your family. I'm just putting the other
And
side
then-
of there are people that say opposite of that. And I'm not trying to convince them to change their mind, but they're pushing very, very, very hard against who we know as the NRA. You know, they're pushing very, very hard against more gun control and getting, because I was one of the people that before said get rid of all the guns. I mean, nobody needs them. But then I saw how it was
please,
displayed
yes.
with the cops. And I was like, wait,
Yes.
pause.
Please.
If I don't have anything,
Yeah,
what
please.
am I going to do to
Yes.
protect what I do have? So I feel all sides of it. I think what we're trying to get people to see, and you all correct if I'm wrong, like whatever you got to do for your family, do for your family. I'm not here to tell your family how to control your household when it comes to the gun narrative. I do say, however, keep it locked away, especially if you have kids. Protect yourself, like Belair was saying. If you get stopped and pulled over, try in the back front of your mind, please try to put in, hey, I got this in this car. Whatever I got to do to comply, like we talked about last week, comply. Because you do not want to give an excuse. Definitely not,
Yes.
especially if you're
Nothing
a
extra.
carrier. You know, nothing extra. And go through the due process of whatever to make sure you obtained your gun legally. Show the serial number, your name attached. Don't do that illegal stuff. And the hope, of course, is, I have to say the hope, not the I know it'll happen, is we have to hope everything just goes through smoothly. Because that's always, it's not a fear thing as I'm afraid of it. It's a fear thing of, man, it's in the back of our heads as Black men. It just is. And that's something that we're trying to get away from. We really are. But every time we see something, it's just there. It's a protecting mechanism. It's not a fear that I'm not going to go outside. It's a protective mechanism. I got to protect myself. That's all we're saying.
Right.
So,
Good stuff.
boom. That was good
That
stuff.
topic is done.
That
Can I give the intro to the next topic?
Man.
So,
Lady,
go ahead.
let me do it.
Go ahead, Ron. Go ahead, Ron.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's fight night. This is WWE Royal Rumble. Oh, we are talking about Black leaders, and we got a tag team matchup, and you can see it. It's going to be left versus right. So I'll tell you to sit back because it's going to be jaws punched out of sockets, spitting blood spattered, and people's heart crushed.
Ron is right, because this topic is
Ready.
going to be led by, who was leading this one, by the way?
It don't even matter.
I think it
Doesn't
was
even matter.
CJ.
I think it was CJ.
No, my
But
topic
we
was
gonna go with
my
Bel
topic
Air.
was last
We're gonna go
time.
with Bel Air.
I had the
Hey,
last
so-
topic.
Bel Air.
CJ, we got the first punch.
I had
got
the first
DDT.
time.
Oh, since you got to go lead off now because he already took a punch at you. CJ, who
Don't
is
mean
your
this DDT.
Black leader? Who's your Black leader?
Man, y'all, no.
Exactly.
I went first on the last one. You ain't about to get
Bel Air,
me.
go ahead. Bel Air, go ahead. Black leader, go ahead. Black leader.
I
Black.
want to say honestly, I don't have per se one Black leader. I think that
Just give us one.
there's
Give us one. You got to give us one. You have a choice. You gotta give us one. I want one. We all have one at least. I have 20, but I want one.
So we do understand that.
Color.
We do understand that if Bell does not have one black leader and can speak on him, then he has nothing to say about
anything.
I know.
To say, Bel-Air.
He does have. Why don't you say the
If
black
you say
leader
what I
that you
think
said?
no, if he says who he says, we have to let him talk. Okay? We cannot cut him off. That's important.
What y'all think a black leader is in today's society?
Go ahead, Bel-Air. It's on you.
Start naming them.
How you gonna put me on a spot and say I gotta name one black leader?
We all got one.
We all got one.
Oh, me and CJ ready to take over if you want us to. We got it.
No. He got to go first. Give his
Why
one.
do I have to go first?
Okay.
Because
Just say Candace Owens, man. Just say her.
Say it. If you want to say her, and then defend it and keep going.
I'm not gonna say she is a leader, but she's not my leader. I think that she is a. Okay, we're just to be facetious with you guys, so you guys can have some ammunition. Candace Owens, and why? Because I feel like she is an intelligent woman who does not allow the media to sway her opinions. She looks beyond the popular belief, and she speaks on things even though her own culture hates her for it. But she has the integrity to say what the truth is and not go with the crowd.
Right.
My black leader. I have two. Is that okay that I got two?
I'm okay with two.
I'm gonna go with my fun one first, and I'll end with my serious one. My fun one, Killer Mike. My man is. You rolled your eyes, Ush.
I didn't roll my eyes.
Killer Mike. I honestly just found out about my man. I'll say post-pandemic. And he had this panel where him, Candace Owens, T.I., and a couple other people led by the creator of BET and P. Diddy and all these people. I'm pretty sure everybody saw it. But my man came blasting with the facts. He taught us about all of the black leaders. He taught us about what we need to do. He taught us about social reform before we were even talking about it this year. He talked about everything. I'm just like, wow, you just gave me a lecture lesson in a debate on spot ready, like he was reading off a script. And I'm just like, this dude knows what he's talking about. From that point, I kept looking into him. And honestly, 2 days ago, I watched his Netflix movie, which is the only thing I want to give a shout out to. It's 5 episodes, and it is insanely fun. Yes. He has a lot of stuff that gets out of control when they start their own community, their own religion. Shout out to Sleepy. But my man Killer Mike is doing the movement and doing exactly what black people, I will say it, CJ, you can disagree if you want. Every black person needs to be following, not what he does, but the movement.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, bro. Don't put me on the spot for that.
Killer Mike.
Killer Mike is that guy.
Your second with Ron?
You said my second one, I'm going to save that. Go ahead, CJ.
All right, CJ.
All right. So for me, I think I have the youngest leader in the group. I think he's younger than all of us. I want to say, Ron, I know you got the baby face, but you're at least 40 inch.
If you talking about that new Republican that beat Trump.
Hey, no, hey, let me tell you, one of my homeboys talking about, I bet not say Dr. Umar. Well, y'all need to cut that out. No, even though y'all know I love me some Umar, but no.
You do.
Right. So
you do.
To me, this is easy because I'm a sports guy. But Colin Kaepernick. I chose Colin Kaepernick for my guy. This brother's, he's 32. He's already made an impact, not only in the black community, but in the world. He's a civil rights activist. He was a quarterback. He brought to light what was going on. I mean, this dude did so much to where the NFL came out and apologized to him without apologizing to him because they realized he was right. Everybody who says, oh, well, you all don't need to be out there rooting and
right.
rioting, things like that, are the same people who said, well, he shouldn't be peacefully protesting. So it was crazy to me.
Let me add a parenthesis. The NFL never apologized to no black man.
Yeah, they apologized to no black man, but they apologized to trying to stop. Because now I bet you everybody would be comfortable with us going back to just kneeling. Oh, okay, we'd rather that. But I mean, the man,
Right.
the man that's giving more than 100 million in donations. He started different foundations in his communities for women and kids who've been oppressed. for people who've been oppressed by the police, for people who have been wrongfully convicted. He's doing things in other countries for people, man. So this dude has done, with him getting blackballed from the NFL, because everybody and their mama know that Colin Kaepernick can be on somebody's roster. I didn't necessarily say starting, but we know he can be on the roster, and he lost his career. And it was just real Muhammad Ali-ish to me. He even won a Muhammad Ali award. I can't remember what year it was. I got it. I had to look at my notes. But yeah, he won the Muhammad Ali award though. I want to say it was like in 2015 or 2018, excuse me. So he's doing such phenomenal things, and for him to be that young, and for right now,
What is he doing?
Bel Air's ready. That's what I was about to say.
I just told you. Would you want me to read it for you? At the initial backlash of his protest, Colin Kaepernick pledged to donate $1 million to organization working in the oppressed communities. He donated about $25,000 to Mothers Against Police Brutality organization that was shared by Ms. Falligan, whose son fell victim to police brutality. In 2018, Kaepernick announced that he would make the final $100,000 donation to his $1 million pledge in the form of $10,000 donations to the charities that will be matched by celebrities.
Hey,
so he
give me that. Give me that. No, give me that.
But-
Give me that DDTT. Give me that. Give me that
No,
DDT,
no,
CJ. Let me get it real quick.
So go ahead.
So
But
he
but
donated-
but
Bel Air.
hold on, but the man who does it, the man who can't even articulate a black leader is criticizing a black leader. You might
Ladies
wanna
and
just
gentlemen, we are about to
you might wanna be
fight.
quiet, bro.
Bel Air, I want you to go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
We are about to fight over Kaepernick. Hold on, before
That's like
Bel
me
Air,
saying
I'm about to give it
Daffy
to you. I'm
Duck
about to
is
give
my
it to you.
black leader
You
because he's
said,
black.
Nah,
That's
Bel
silly.
Air.
Just because that's
Daffy
not
Duck.
credible.
Daffy,
Like,
Duck, what are you
hold
talking
on.
about, bro? We talking about
You said
Space
a
Jam?
man that gained his fame through kneeling after he was already on the bench. His career he was about to lose his career anyways because he wasn't starting. He was doing terrible.
He was
And
gonna
the
lose his
first
career.
time he
You
actually
saying
got
Colin Kaepernick
traction-
wouldn't have been on the team?
Wait,
You saying
CJ,
Colin
wait,
Kaepernick
CJ,
wouldn't have
time-
been on the team?
wait,
And the
CJ.
first
Go ahead.
time he really got traction was off of making a movement of black equality and taking a knee. Okay. After that, he got blackballed and then made millions upon millions of dollars from Nike, who was owned by a white corporation who does
We're not
absolutely
even there
nothing for
yet.
the
We're not
African
even
Hold on,
there
Ryan.
yet.
Hold on.
And
Hold on,
after
Ryan. Keep going.
after
Hold on,
making
hold on.
millions of
I got it.
dollars
I got it. Let him
from
finish.
the black
Let him finish.
movement, you donated $1 million.
How much have you donated? How much has Candace
Hold on, hold on.
No,
donated?
we don't. Whoa. We
Hold
getting
on.
the money.
Bel
Hold
Air,
on.
finish. Bel Air, finish. Bel Air, I need Bel Air to finish. I need
Hold
her
on.
to
We
finish.
getting the money.
If I made $100 million off of saying that I love Black Lives Matter, I would donate a little bit more to my black community that has supported me, and therefore is now the reason I am rich than $1 million.
He wasn't rich
Hold
before.
Hold on.
He wasn't rich.
Let him finish.
And
Let him
then-
finish. Let him
and
finish.
then
I need him to finish.
to call myself a hero, or the people call me a hero because I donated 1% of the riches that therefore I have because of you is very facetious.
And he wasn't
Okay.
giving,
Go ahead.
he wasn't giving
Ryan,
any
go
money.
ahead. Ryan,
He wasn't giving
Ryan.
any money before this.
Ryan.
Bell knows that for a fact that Colin Kaepernick
Ryan.
never gave a dime before he knelt.
Hold on,
That's
CJ.
it.
CJ,
Has
can
he
you
done
save
before he
CJ?
knows?
Save that comment because I have an answer for
Right.
that as well.
Ryan, go ahead.
But so you started this off, ladies and gentlemen. We have a conversation about Colin Kaepernick. If you are watching this right now in our chat, all you got to comment is yes or no. We're gonna take a poll. Is Colin Kaepernick a black leader for the transition that we need right now in America?
For the movement.
So Bel Air came out and said, "What has Colin Kaepernick done?" Egregious. Because CJ, did we not just do a 5-episode series about a black man who did absolutely nothing by the name of Michael Jordan?
Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
And there is so many people. CJ, was we not just arguing about Jerry Jones, who is refusing to come out? The leader of America's team, the Cowboys, is coming out and refusing to say anything. So how dare us come at a black man who decided to come out? You saying his career was ending. Guess what? He was still getting paid for that game. He was getting paid for the next game. He was getting paid for the next game. There's nobody that's going to be like, I'm going to throw out these hundreds of thousands of dollars out the window. Nah, he said, okay.
Did he make more money actually playing the craft that he was supposed to be playing, or doing something for another
So
cause?
Colin
Claiming
Kaepernick,
it
when he
his-
was drafted,
So you saying because Nike rewarded him for taking a stand about what he saw going on for his people.
No,
Nike
even people did not reward him for taking a stand. Nike saw his marketability and invested in his marketability.
Isn't that what business with Bel Air is all about? Isn't that what business with Bel Air? Isn't that what you?
My turn.
Go ahead, Ush. Go ahead, Ush.
So
what is the definition of a leader according to Webster's dictionary? What is a leader? Does anybody know what a leader is? Definition. You don't. I got you. A leader is someone who can see how things can be improved and who rallies people to move toward that better vision. Leaders need to be empathetic and connect with people to be successful. Leaders can work toward making their vision a reality while putting people first. Just being able to motivate people is not enough. I'm sorry, Bel Air, but Colin Kaepernick fits this complete definition.
Argue with Webster, dog, not me.
He improved people. He was empathetic and he connected with people to be successful. The very definition of that defines him. No matter how much money he was paid, no matter who gave him what money, no matter what Nike did, a leader is defined by him. Because if you can say Candace Owens is a leader and she is a leader in her outright, he can say Colin Kaepernick.
Ladies and gentlemen,
have an agenda to push and motivate. And that's why my leader is the most controversial of all y'all. It is Sean King. Because you can call him white, you can call him Milli Vanilli, you can call him black, you can call him whatever you want to call him. But I'm sorry, Sean King has motivated.
So we're taking this from Cap?
Has motivated. Has shown.
Before we go to Sean King.
Brought people together.
Before we go to Sean King.
That's mine.
Ladies and gentlemen,
has brought people together. The man who wants to deface Jesus has brought people together.
Wait, we ain't getting to that. We ain't even got to that yet. He's brought people together. He's done for the community. He's donated money. He's moved his family. He's brought back. Do you know what the North Star is? Anybody know what North Star is? No. He brought the North Star back. That is Frederick Douglass' paper that he wrote. Sean King brought it back to life to rewrite and to continue to write about how African Americans can and will and shall excel. That's more than any of us on this panel have ever done. But no matter what, it fits the definition of a leader. I don't have to like the leader because I don't like the person that's sitting in office right now. But guess what he is?
Ush, you're more impressive.
In the negative way, he is a what? He is a leader.
Hey, dog, don't
negative as he is. He's brought people
together. You officially lost Ron and CJ.
Don't slander SeanKing, bro. No Sean King slander.
No, the point I'm trying to say is he is a leader. I'm saying he's a leader.
Okay.
And we don't have to like the leadership.
Yes,
and guess why the word leadership has a ship on it?
Sean King,
but we can sit here, daily on a chat and dismantle Candace Owens and her credibility and how she's
quote unquote. I don't have to like her. Why do I have to like her?
So Bel Air, can you dismantle Sean King? I'm not that informed on this man's political career. What's your issue with Sean King, Bel?
Because you want to, I have my own
issue with black people
of religion
getting money, basically, CJ.
Nah, Bel Air don't got a problem with nobody getting money.
No, Bel Air says because he's not uniting with the white people. That's why he's not uniting all people.
I have an issue.
Him being able to be a black leader, that
was real uneducated of you to say, and I feel
he calling you ignorant and unlearned.
Yes, that was very offensive, and that's how I feel about it. But go ahead.
So my point is this. I'm sorry to say, again, they fit the leader role. The point is, through the definition, we have to
Sean King and President Trump is not a damn leader. No, you are not getting full agreement. You just take it.
Donald Trump is somebody's leader, though. Donald Trump.
I said he's a
people do follow Donald Trump.
You can't get Ron. You can't sit there and say that man in 45.
Bro, I am not going to give. If you are completely leading people in a negative route, I don't care if you're leading. If you're taking them in a direction where they don't need to
Sean King is leading people to face the image
of President Trump. President Trump is not a leader because his one job is to manage the United States.
He's still unite. He's still the United States. I don't like
because he has a
Webster's dictionary that makes him a leader. So
he's a leader.
Because he has a cult.
That's my point.
There you go.
But he's still Colts have leaders.
But we need
you want to talk
to
about you want to talk about Jimmy? Talk about what's his name, Joe? Jones, that was the leader that had all people drink the Kool-Aid, but him, he was a leader, and he motivated people to drink the Kool-Aid.
Are we sure? Are we sure we want to conclude and mix the word leader with the word dictator?
Said not all leaders have to be
No,
leaders,
I'm not trying to do that. My point is this: to dismantle.
I want to talk about
thing,
Kaepernick. What about you, CJ?
We don't like. No, here's my point though. We like to. I said that because we like to pull the points that we like and say that's a leader. And we like to not pull the points we like here and say that's not a leader when we can't do that. Now, I don't have to like the leader, and I'm going to pull why I don't think there's a good leader, and we have bad leaders. But the question is, who do we see as a black leader? They can say Kaepernick, and you can say Candace Owens, and you can say Killer Mike, and I can say Sean King, because by definition they all.
I got the best leader.
Hold on. Before you go though, the thing that's just alarming is that if a black woman who will, even if some stuff is factual, I can't say that she just blatantly lies, but a black woman who can get on TV and get on the news and the media and degrade her own people.
She does.
That's who
she does.
But that's who she's a leader. But any black man that has a strong, passionate voice, it seems like one of the people on the panel got a problem with that. Like is it a problem with strong black men leading? Like, are we supposed to sit back and let the women do the leading? Are we supposed to be meek and humble? Like, is it that Kaepernick inspired a whole generation? Is it that Sean King inspired a whole generation? Is it that Killer Mike inspired a whole generation? I mean, bro, just the other day you were slandering T.I. because T.I. was talking about his struggles and what he went through.
Right.
Like, and you saying, oh, well, he capitalized out. I'm like, bro, so who it's you don't have the position to judge and say when someone can become an activist, when someone can become an advocate, and you don't have the right or reserve the right to let say about someone's intentions. Like, I know Candace Owens gets paid to spew the rhetoric that she does. We know she gets cut a check to spew that rhetoric. So if Colin Kaepernick gonna get a check to spew some rhetoric, I'd rather it be for me and my people. You understand what I'm saying, bro?
So you're saying that
Candace Owens say racism doesn't exist. She say there's no such thing as systematic oppression. She say the police aren't being. Come on, bro.
Before we join the weekly session of Beat Up on Bell, can I ask Usher a question?
What's up?
Oh no, Bell's ready to respond. He's ready. He got the box.
Because y'all like to sit here and oppress yourself by thinking all this bullshit facts, systematic oppression. When I've told you, by definition, systematic oppression by the Webster Dictionary, since we want a Webster Dictionary people right now, is not existent because there's no law saying that because you're black, you can't do something. So that is not systematic. So find another word to accuse your oppression, but that's not it.
Victor Cabral. Hold on.
Systematic oppression is when the laws of a place create unequal treatment of a specific social identity group or groups. We've named laws. We've named amendments that actually do show the laws of a place create unequal treatment of a specific social identity of groups or groups. We've already talked about that.
Okay,
so
I'll give you a lot. Okay, all right. It was a black lady who was homeless. She was living in her car. She was living in her car, and she used a neighbor's address, like a neighboring neighborhood, so her daughter can go to a better school. They gave her 5 years. It was a white lady who was rich and famous who cheated and paid her daughter's way into a school, and she got 14 days.
So is that
what are we talking about? If that's not systematic oppression, I don't know what is, bro. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
So that is a wealth. There's a wealth oppression. Maybe the wealthy have more power.
That's systematic oppression. Systematically, you know that they don't have money.
Okay, Bill. Okay, I got it. Okay.
You relate systematic oppression to your color. You saying black people are systematically oppressed because of their color.
It says specific social identity of groups.
I said your people systematically oppressed too, bro. Your people, I know you don't believe that.
That's social
identity not systematically oppressed.
Hey, we saw my man out in Cali
with the laws of this nation that stopped me from success.
That's in the definition, bro. I just read it.
There is no law put in place that prevents me because of my color and my heritage.
Somebody post with who man.
Hey, can we give a moment of silence? My brother just got out the hospital. He joined the chat, so I want to give him a shout out to him. Love you, bro.
Yeah, shout out to your brother, and I hope he feels better.
Shout out to your brother. Shout out to your brother.
Ron, what's your
Shout
last
out
one,
to
man?
him.
Come on, we got it here, baby.
Who got the, because we got to go to our next Father's Day thing. So what we got?
I thought
I thought
Ron
my
had,
last person.
I thought he had one.
Oh, go ahead, Ron. Yeah, Ron. What last person?
So we all gave a lot of examples, but I don't think anybody picked their real example. I know CJ picked his real example of a black leader. He would have said Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, that's true.
He had to be today, though.
I wanted to be a current leader. Yeah.
Marcus Garvey ain't alive still?
Boy,
No, he died in like the 40s. You know that.
I'm just playing. My last person, Thomas Sowell. How many of y'all know about Thomas Sowell? I know you do, because you do economics and business and college and all of that.
I do.
Thomas Sowell is pretty much the black leader when it comes to our economics.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget who recommended him to me, but I'm looking him up. And my man has wrote almost 40 books.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Starting in the 70s. And he
So,
marched with MLK. Shut up. He marched with Malcolm. He did all of that stuff, but his focus, all of theirs was black organization, us being free.
Like rights and
but
things
Thomas
like that,
Sowell was focused on black.
Right.
Ron, you went quiet.
Ron,
Did you mute yourself?
Ron, you muted yourself.
Ron, you muted yourself. No, let me not mute you. You muted yourself.
He's all happy
Unmute
over
yourself,
there,
man.
hooping and hollering. Unmute
Bro,
yourself.
mute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Yo,
Thank you
my
for
hands are
yourself.
right here. The computer just did that to myself. Thomas Sowell, he wrote 4 books. I had some quotes that I wanted to say from him, but everybody needs to go look up my man's books. I'm all
The best one is
organized.
discrimination and disparities, by the way. But go ahead.
Discriminations and disparities.
Discrimination and disparities is the best one.
Discrimination and disparities.
Uh-huh.
No. Oh, you think that's his best one? Let me get some
do.
of his books. CJ, I just want to see your. CJ's looking up right now. Let me see your facial. Oh, okay, give me your facial response when I read the titles of these books.
Okay.
And think about what you're about to learn.
Okay.
This book is called Black Rednecks and White Liberals.
Mhm.
That's his most popular. What I would recommend is his book that he wrote in 1975, Race and Economics. And then he has Basic Economics. And then the one that Ush said is his best. But he wrote 40 books, yo,
That's
on
crazy.
Black Lives
so
Matter,
dope.
started in the
He's dope.
60s. Thomas
dope.
Sowell. Go look him up on YouTube. And just go listen to what a man's talking about. It changed your life.
Right. He's dope. Now, it's time for a happy time.
Yeah.
And by the way, everybody on the panel, we love each other. I love Belair. I love CJ.
These
I love Ron.
No,
They
they
all
don't.
love me.
They
Guys,
beat on me daily, but it's okay.
we don't
I
beat
have an
on
obligation to my community.
Daron.
The
Daron, look,
facts.
Belair beats on us. You should have heard
Be
what he said
honest
about
with
my
people.
shirt before this podcast even started. He went in on my shirt. But anyway, look.
Once
Father's
again,
Day.
facts.
What did you all do? How did you all enjoy Father's Day? Y'all talk to me. How was it?
EJ had the best one.
Yeah, what did you have Father's Day?
I had a great Father's Day, man. I can say that the wife and kids hooked me up. We ate good. Just a few gifts, man. My wife got me the Gucci set, the smell good set. So the deodorant and the spray and all that. So that boy smelled like Gucci at all times.
Can't smell you through Zoom, but okay.
Yeah, you can smell me. You can smell me. She took and got me her and my sons picked out some heartwarming cards. Some cards that kind of let me know how they feel, which was cool. The funny thing is, man, so my wife took a picture of us and cut it and stuck it. She stuck it on the card to replace the people that was on the card. So that was pretty cool to get a person on the card.
I love
and
Gia.
and she did it so good. At first, I was like, "How did you do this?" She was like, "Well, I just cut it out and taped it on there." So that was pretty good. And then I got 2 bags of Rap Snacks. I don't know if y'all know Rap Snacks, but I'm a Rap Snack fan. And then I didn't know that Biggie Smalls had a Rap Snack. So she bought me 2 bags of the Biggie Smalls. So my favorite rapper, one of my favorite chips. It was a good Father's Day.
That's pretty cool.
Dope. Ron, what's up? Father's Day.
I'm not celebrating holidays in our current epidemic of Black oppression. I'll pass to Belair.
Oh Lord. Well, unfortunately, I'm not a father yet, but I did have a good time with some good people celebrating their Father's Day.
That's dope. and my Father's Day was freaking amazing. All I wanted, because y'all know I like to eat, all I wanted was a crab boil. And I didn't post a picture of the crab boil because I didn't realize I already ate it before I posted the picture of it. So we had crab legs, sausage, corn, potatoes, all boiled together with some shrimp.
Wifey made all that for you?
Yes, man. She had me a big old pan full for me with some.
All you needed was some Sunday night football. Holy smokes!
And I made own homemade marinara sauce, bro. It was look, it was so freaking good. That's all I wanted. I didn't want gifts. She asked me that. I said I don't want no gifts. I just want to eat that.
Ooh, hold on. Jonathan Denny putting comments in the chat. CJ,
get him, Denny.
CJ, do you feel bad for wearing Gucci considering they put a racist article out of clothing? We can talk about Gucci. We can talk about Ralph Lauren. All these clothing lines that have racist.
Well, I don't feel bad because
I know Gucci was racist.
I didn't purchase it, but now knowing that,
well, you did. Your wife
did purchase. Y'all won.
I didn't purchase it, so that's number one.
Dang, Jen, get your boy.
Number
Jen,
two,
come get him.
Number two, expensive set though.
Hey,
that's expensive
number two.
Set. Billy, how much that run for?
Hey, it smells amazing. Now, knowing what I know, what Denny just said, would I go buy it myself? No, but I'm going to use it up, of course. But no, I won't go buy it.
I ain't gonna waste it now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
I
waste
want to
be
wasteful.
wasteful. But it's people over in Africa that can, I'm not.
Hey, my mama always said
Don't
that,
nobody
man.
Africa need no cologne.
Don't nobody African.
You know how many starving
Wasteful,
kids there are that
Yeah,
want
bro,
to eat this and you're not going to eat it? Well, then give it to them, mama. They can eat it.
Something is wrong with these guys on this panel, and that's not my fault.
Hey.
Somebody said burn Gucci. Oh my gosh, I'm done. Look here. Eric, you crazy. Moving on to our next topic.
Oh, they're my homies right there. What's up, fellas?
This is Ron's topic.
I ain't pick a topic this week.
Ron, this is your topic. Ron, this is your topic. You need to read it. Because the topic is
I'm scrolling.
Is social media blocking Black Lives Matter? Ron, take it away.
Oh, I put that in there just for conversation between.
No,
I saw that. See, hey, y'all know, Ron, I live in New Mexico where medical marijuana is legal. So sometimes we be having production meetings and talking. And I forget everything. So when I saw this initially in our topics for today, I was like, wow, somebody else felt the way that I felt. But I only felt that way because I listened to a podcast from the national news on the statistics of Facebook. So guess what? This is not about social media. This rant right now is an attack on Facebook, which is our number one platform. We're on live on Facebook. Who do y'all think Facebook is pro who?
Trump.
Okay.
Mark Zuckerberg is incredibly, excessively pro-Trump. So Facebook and Twitter are two biggest platforms. Last year, when a lot of race and stuff and a lot of bad things was coming out on social media, Twitter decided to ban violence, ban all that stuff, and ban Trump. I also found out that Louis Farrakhan been banned for a couple of years from social media. Crazy. But Facebook decided not to ban Trump. And if you look up Facebook's most popular top 10 videos, they're all Republican categorized. Sure. Like their top 10 is Trump's last. He just did the rally, but it's all Trump. So our question,
one in his basement, so that didn't get a lot of views.
But our question is social media. Our question is Black Lives Matter. And ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Facebook is completely trying to distort and get rid of Black Lives Matter. I don't know why Mark Zuckerberg is really for Trump, but if you look it up, there is so many Facebook employees. I'm talking about Facebook employees that develop the screen that you look at, that develop the app. They left the company, CJ. They said, F this $1 million salary. I will not support this platform who is not doing the right thing. And they dipped and bounced. Crazy. But that also includes Instagram, who's run by Facebook. But we can trust Twitter. Their CEO, I think his name is Mark Craig, is doing all the right things. CJ's muted.
Offended when you look at the news stations because they're all run by leftist organizations?
That's not true. Fox, is ran, Republican, CNN, I would say is neutral.
No,
There's all different
I'm
types.
saying
Go ahead.
majority of the channels that you watch, networks, you have like 3 Republican news stations. Everything else though is leftist.
I love what you're saying. So I will pass it to you. Speak to the people on the different sources that you need to get your news. You need to get all the different sources because you said
Honestly,
you. And I'm like, you don't know what I watch. But
no.
you
I'm
got to
saying
go to
who
all
has
kinds
it
of
all
different
our people.
sources. Are people, if you're watching just Fox, I know who
Yeah,
you are, Candace Owens.
I don't think anybody should just watch one news station because they're always going to be biased. I found that watching your local news sometimes is less biased because they have less of an agenda to push.
That's Usher's movement, local.
Yep.
Yep, that's my thing, and he's absolutely right. Local news tells you what's going on right here, right now, that affects you immediately. So the votes that you pass locally is immediate. So I agree with Belair. That's why I watch local news. I watch Minot, KX Minot, KX. I can't think of the other one. They have 2 local news here. It's much better. It's less controversial. The focus is on what the community can and should be doing, and the focus is on anything going on in your area that you need to know, especially when it's time to vote. They talk about the here. They don't talk about the stuff up there. So I like that idea. I really don't. I watch CNN and Fox News only to get opinions based on what their mindset is. I need to be educated on what their mind is.
But you can't make your judgment on just one channel.
Nah.
Can I give a political statement?
You're right.
Can I give a political statement for a lot of the people who are making comments? I don't think anyone on here is pro-Republican or pro-Democrat. Belair might be pro-Republican. But as y'all are commenting, I know CJ's like, F it all. And I'm like, we lost hope.
Yeah, CJ really doesn't have a party at all.
When it comes to debating sides, we're really pointing out the error in both parties' ways. And I'll pass it back to you to take it.
Because I'll tell you that I am, and I've always voted, except this last time, I am Republican. People know that about me. I've always been, because I remember when the Republicans first started, as far as my history and things like that. That's why I vote that. But again, I agree with what's right and what's wrong when I actually cast my vote. So my vote's not always cast Republican. I look at all when I go to the ballot, I look at all the people down there that I've looked at and researched. A lot of the times it's not Republican that I'm feeling out because I'm like, not you. I don't like you. I watch you all the time. I don't like you. So
and especially when it comes to your local level.
Right, exactly. That is very true. Even though we're most of a Republican state, I still have to look at all the people in those options. But I want to answer Ethan's questions. Ethan has a great question. His question was, why do we discredit people who bring tangible facts and debates serious issues? And he brought up Candace Owens, Morgan Freeman, Terry Crews, and others who have spoken out about the community only to be ousted and called things like a race traitor. Here's the reason why. We're not calling them, we on this panel ain't trying to out them like that. What we're simply saying is we don't agree with them because they don't speak for us. I have my own mind. CJ has his own mind. Beltran has his own mind. They don't speak for us. We speak for ourselves. The problem I have with them in that, and you all correct me if I'm wrong, is people, especially the people that don't look like us, look at them and think they speak for us. That's the problem that I have with some of the people in those positions, that our voice is not heard unless it's me and you having a conversation together, Ethan. Instead, people look at Candace Owens with her millions of followers and Officer Tatum with his millions of followers and say, that's your voice. I'm going for what they say. When what they're saying may not technically be true or apply to me, or it could be heavily opinionated. So that's when we're like, wait, that ain't what I'm thinking. That's not what I'm saying. That's not how I feel. But you don't know that unless you talk to me. That's why these guys know I push for local relationships. People that I can talk to face, that get to know me and how I feel, know that this is the way that I'm trying to trend or move in. That's I want to answer this question. That was a good question.
And for someone like me, when a Candace Owens who can reach, so many people, I'll say this. I was looking at it was something on Facebook, one of the Facebook videos, and there was a guy who had, I guess his wife had family like in Japan. And when they had reached out to this family over in Japan, they had the impression that Black America didn't like George Floyd. And he said, well, how in the world could you ever have fathomed that? And he said, well, because I saw the video from Candace Owens and she was saying how much of a bad guy he was and that we shouldn't be lauding him as a hero and blah blah blah. Like that's why people get on Candace Owens, like because of that. Like, and again, Candace Owens and some of those people do speak fact. Ted Cruz, but I don't know what he was thinking. I just don't know what he was going with this, bro. The coon levels.
He just got out the gym. He just got out the gym.
Yeah, bro.
His brain levels at low.
I don't know what was going on, but Candace Owens does speak fact. But we know that Candace Owens, like she says that she never faced racism, yet she sued a school and won money. And I don't remember her donating any of that money to no black cause.
$37,000.
Are we gonna go back to Colin Kaepernick?
No. I mean, the conversation go wherever it goes. But what I'm saying is, it's like, but you go
for that, Ron. Stop, Ron. Stop.
But
stop.
So many points.
No, but I guess to get back though to the question at hand, like, you know, with Facebook and social media, I do feel like, and it's easier said than done, but we got to get our own platform. We got to get our own
working in the works.
We got to work not only just social media, but like with local news. Like we got to have our own. Like we got to get into that stuff that we don't do. We always trying to go and infiltrate somebody else's business and work for them and everything like that. But do we take the knowledge and you trying to replicate it? I guess it might be laws and stuff that may prohibit that. But I feel like we need to try to get our own, have our own platform and our own news, have our own table. I think that will work better for us than anything.
And when we do that, of course, we all know, just being honest, that's going to be censored at some level too.
That's true.
You can't not have some kind of censor, or your platform won't be a credible place that people will go to. You have to have some kind of
fact checking, no doubt.
Yeah, have to have something in place to where people aren't just reckless.
Yeah.
Because for a moment there, Instagram had got reckless. Now I remember that. A few months ago, Instagram had like some of everything on there, and they were like, Instagram was like, okay, stop. We gotta stop this, because they were losing more people than they were gaining because of the recklessness that they had began to allow people to portray. So you have to have some kind of censorship, but we don't want to censor people to where they can't speak their mind based on who they choose for president or who they choose for a local official. I think that's just ridiculous.
I posted the stat.
So I do like what you're saying.
I posted a stat with, I guess, how long it takes police officers to go through training, like in other countries compared to what it does in the U.S. And shout out to Ashley, Eric's wife. Thank you for watching as well. She actually brought it to my attention on Facebook that when you go to that post, it says inaccurate information, and it makes you like you got to hit view picture just to see it. So it comes up there. But if you actually go research the info, it's correct. And people lie on Facebook all day. They're purposely censoring out certain things. And just like, you know, my dog Denny and even Eric for getting on me for using Gucci, you're using Facebook. And that guy is giving just as much money to the political parties as Gucci.
Way to make everybody feel dirty.
Actually, way more. Facebook owns almost an entire small civilization.
But we got a Facebook page.
Facebook owns all social media platforms, if we want to be honest, I think, except Twitter.
Not just on the
Twitter's
internet,
2.5 for Facebook. Though.
As far as landmass, they own their own small city.
It's like Google.
Yeah, they own a small city.
And that's a big deal. So we know that, and we know where that's stemming from. So they unfortunately can make the rules and laws with censorship. That was a great question. Moving on to our next one. This one is going to be led by none other than Bel Air, who is now shifting his hat because
he's fresh.
This question says, and I had to research this one too, and I'm going to come up with something in a moment when you all talk, but Bel Air, lead us in same color, different culture, Black American versus West Indian Black. Take it away.
So I want to go back to a comment that was made earlier. And it says that, when I talked about that there's a wealth disparity, a wealth gap, not a racial gap. And someone said, yes, because whites are wealthier than blacks.
By about 150K.
Okay. So
per year.
I believe that has to do not with inequality, but the own culture. Okay. Our own culture suppresses us to be that way. So I would like to bring into play the difference between Black Americans and West Indian blacks. Okay. Now, Black Americans I depict as Black people born in America whose culture is followed due to in slavery, you could say, and how that has played a part in their cultural beliefs and the way they maneuver. Now, West Indian blacks would be people like Jamaicans, Haitians from Barbados, from the island, who didn't go through that kind of process. Now, they looked at the wealth gap. They took Boston, for example, the city of Boston, and they looked at every black individual in the city of Boston. So now you can't say, well, their environment was different. Well, whatever
They're racially oppressed.
It's the entire black community. They separated the blacks from blacks born in America and blacks of West Indian families, first generations.
West Indian.
And they found that,
real quick, not to cut you off, West Indian from
yes.
where? I'm sorry, just ask you real quick. West Indian from where?
You already said it.
So they grabbed Jamaicans, Haitians,
Multiple islands,
and from Barbados, multiple islands, black people from islands that were never here. So they were born here, but they were first generation here. So their parents were still immigrants. So they still carried the culture from their island to the States. And they found that Black Americans had a generational wealth. That means anything they were going to be able to donate to their kids, as far as their savings account, $600.
Oh, okay.
$600. When they looked at West Indian blacks, their generational wealth was an average of 12,000. So here we have two different cultures, same color, same place, going through the same situations, but their moral beliefs and how they operated are completely different. So what do we account that to?
Okay, so can I gotta go. I gotta get this off. All right, Bill, I have a question for you, my brother. If me and you playing Monopoly, right? And I get to go 400 times. And every time you go, any money you make, you got to give to me. 400 rounds. 400. And I'm going to go and you going to go. And the money you make, matter of fact, you're going to go 2 or 3 times to my one. And everything you make for 400 rounds is mine. Everything I make for 400 rounds is mine. After the 400 rounds, I say, okay, now you can go. And then once I see that you are starting to build anything like, let's say, Rosewood or Tulsa, I burn it to the ground and take your money. What would you do? How can you win? Would that explain the economic decrease? Like if you, let's say, to go 80 years down the line, wouldn't you say that those 400 years still affected that more than any culture, more than anything you can do? Wouldn't that affect it more than the black person's culture? Wouldn't the systematic that you say don't exist, but when it did exist for 400 years, and then after that, the Jim Crow law, don't you think that had, because you know the Civil Rights Act was just passed in 1964, my brother.
Okay.
That just was around. That was just a little bit ago. So you don't think that has just a little bit to do with the economic disparity between even when you said the West Indian blacks, the disparity between them and the whites it's still astronomical. It's still insane. So I mean, to say who's the prettiest pig in the pigsty is insane. Now I am with you. Their culture is amazing. The way them women stick with their dudes, boy, look here. They are loyal. They take care of the family. They care about their dollar. They spend their money with their people. They help each other out. Yes, they do. And the African American, the so-called African American black, if you don't know about the West Indian blacks, like take the time to learn the culture because it is freaking phenomenal. They are great people. But as far as the money concern is, bro, like I just told you, if I do you like they did us on a Monopoly board, you're never catching me. You're never catching me. So it is what it is.
This is the problem that I have. Okay.
Me too. Slavery was bad, bro. 401 years. That was bad, dog.
You
right.
That if we keep blaming our mishaps on slavery, I let you speak. Hold on. So if you continue to blame every mishap or shortcoming in your economic community or whatever it might be on slavery, then for the next 10,000 years, you will never get out of that because
that's why I want my reparations. Exactly. You're correct. You are correct.
Not reparations. That's how we go back.
No, I want my reparations, bro.
Or I can meet all of you.
And I can take my money and go back to Africa. Dog, we didn't get to go.
Okay.
Hold on, CJ. Let him finish.
So,
let him finish. I want to hear what he had to say.
10,000 years can pass, and if you still blame slavery for your mishaps, you will never come out of that. Okay. Now, when I said that the first generation
We're the only
of
case study that
immigrants
been slavery though.
still won't let me talk.
Hold on, CJ, hold on.
So
Because I'm not about to let you
I
do
get
this,
it.
bro. No, I'm good.
No, he
I'm not
has
gonna let
to.
you do it.
I need him to
Right,
for a reason.
and this is
I need
and
him
this
to
is the
build his
fact
own
because
case. I need him to.
this is why I brought into perception the parables of a pedestrian last week. Because every time we point out facts, we think we are blaming you. I am
You're
not
not
blaming
pointing
you.
out facts.
Stop.
You're
I'm
not
not
pointing out
blaming you
facts.
because
Hold
of
on,
where
CJ.
you
I
were
need him to
born.
finish.
I'm
I need
not
him to
blaming you
finish
because of the
this.
color you were
Let
born.
him finish
I'm
this.
blaming you
Let him
because
finish.
you're using something to put over your head that already makes you capped to what your potential can be. Okay.
So it's my
here
fault
you
I was a
have-
slave. My fault my people were slaves.
I
Oh,
just
that's
said
on
that,
us.
and
That's
th-
on
you're,
us, y'all.
you're exactly proving
Our
my
bad.
point.
We
It
should have just not been
actually
slaves.
put a cap.
It
of why
We should
actually
have just
is
not
our
been slaves.
fault.
We
CJ,
should have
let
just
him
not
finish.
been slaves.
I
Mute
can't
yourself, mute
succeed
yourself.
because
Mute
I
yourself,
was a
bro.
slave
Let
at
him
one
finish.
time.
I need to hear what he has to say. You have to mute yourself, mute yourself. Let him finish. I need to hear this for a reason. Go ahead, though.
So here you have a first generation. Okay, when their parents normally come here, immigrants have a savings of no more than $1,000. The majority, the average number, they have $1,000 when they come to this country. So if you're saying because I didn't have my reparations, they never came to this country with reparations.
They don't get grants
started
though. They don't
with
get grants. They don't get grants.
They started.
Are you crazy?
The amount.
CJ,
First of
hold
all,
on.
the amount
Hold
of
on.
them that
This dude
is
apply
crazy.
for grants
Hold
is
on.
very minimal to begin with. Okay. So if you're gonna just attest to, I'm never gonna succeed because my parents were slaves and I'm black, and that's why I'm never gonna succeed. Ain't your parents ever tell you if you plan to fail, you're always gonna fail?
I'm talking about as a whole. See, I'm very successful. I'm talking about as a whole, as a people.
As a whole,
400
we have
years,
our
bro.
own culture to blame
How did you say
because
that,
we
dog?
idolize
All right, so-
the wrong things.
So this is not going anywhere. I need to ask you something, Bill, there real quick. So your source on this thing that you have, your source. Can you give me that again, please? Your source on what you utilize to get these numbers, especially defining the West African Indian versus the African American. Who came up with this? Can I get that, please? I need that.
Yes, the 2016 census.
Census from 2016, and you said it defined the West African. And West African meaning grouped together Jamaicans, Haitians, and all those versus the African American.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So I watched today a social experiment. And this teacher brought up to the stage 8 black people, and he had 2 black people, could have been me and you or whatever, see who was African, who was African American, who was West African, who was Jamaican, who was Haitian, who was from what. And he had you pick out who you thought was what based on what you thought they looked like in your name. The 2 African American people got all of them wrong. All 8 of them got all of them wrong. Every last one of them wrong. Of that social experiment, 3 of them weren't even sure what they really were. It was just based on some misspelled history, what their parents kind of told them, but they weren't sure what they really fit into. So they just said something. They weren't even sure. His point was, he was making a point was, how can white people tell black people or say to them, go back to Africa when all people ain't even from Africa? You know, you're from different places. I can't even define you as a West African. I can't do it. So my problem with you with this census number is this. The definition
This is first
and the
generation,
source,
though. This is first generation. So I know.
No,
that
let him
your
talk.
parents-
No, let him talk.
Whoa.
No.
Oh, so
no,
there's
no.
so
You cut-
when
and
you
you
like
cut-
the facts,
On the second,
you're gonna say
on the
don't cut them
second
off.
segment- on
But
the
when you
second
don't like
segment-
my
but I made
facts,
sure to cut CJ
you
off
can
while you were talking. I
unallow me.
cut CJ off while you were talking.
On the
I
second
cut CJ off
segment,
while you were
this is the
talking.
problem.
on the
we
second
have.
segment, you cut off
But I
Ron
cut
and you
CJ
cut off
off.
Ush. We'll see that back
But
when
I
we go
cut
back
off
to watch.
CJ while you was talking.
I sat back and let you cut him off. Now it's your turn to get cut off.
While you talking.
Hush up.
Because what I'm trying to find out with this census, because I'm looking at this census like right now. And I know the importance of a census and what they're considering these numbers with poverty and things like that. The point is, I can't even tell as a black man where the heck my actual ancestry factual thing comes from. As a black person, I don't even know. And I couldn't even tell the people in front of me where they came from. And the white people doggone sure didn't know where they came from. Doggone sure. Nobody really knew where the people in front of them come from. And that was people that was between the age of 18 to 25 that was in this college class had no idea. My point is, for your numbers for this census, I'm not even buying it. I'm wiping that out the way. I don't even care.
I know, because you don't like it.
I'm not done.
What we
I'm not
do
done.
every time we don't like facts. We dismiss them,
done.
and we call people cool
I'm
and
not
embrace
dismissing
traders.
the facts. I'm dismissing the census. I'm dismissing that census of that poverty line. I'm dismissing it. Because here's the point that we're trying to make with this.
I know. It's very
whether you have, here's my thing, whether you have the West African or whether you have the African American, the point is, you sit there and say, we always make excuses, but here you are allowing the census to compare the two, which makes an excuse. So what's it going to be? Are we going to make an excuse, or are we going to be comparing to somebody else and showing what we're not doing? No, what we need to do is simply this. I don't care if it's because you just simply said, hey, here's the poverty line of this one. Here's the poverty line of this one. You're here, they're there. Do better to get here. That's what you just said. You did. You really said, do this, do better here to get from here to here is what you said. That's comparing the two again. So how does that make me a better person by showing me where I'm not? As far as I'm not, and I'm telling you, I'm not here because they had something that I didn't have. And I've said it over and over and over and over again, that we're trying to build now in 2020.
What did they have that you didn't?
In 2020, I'm trying to build something called wealth. My parents didn't have any money, and their parents
didn't have any money. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But I'm trying to get to that point about but their parents educated them on how to take care of their money that my parents failed, and my parents failed to tell me how to do. They told me how to take your money and hide under the bed. But then when it comes time to pay things, I didn't know nothing about taxes growing up. I didn't know about that stuff growing up. So now I'm trying to figure out on my own, a first generation of how to build something with trying to educate myself. But what you're saying is, well, here they come in with this money and they're doing it. But bro, I didn't have any of those possibilities. Because of slavery, I just got to a point now I'm recognizing, hey,
because of slavery, you didn't have a
some
father
kind
that
of
educated you?
Some kind of breathing
because
room.
In the
Jim Crow
1960s,
laws. I'm not done. I am not done. I'm not done.
Man.
Some kind of breathing room with Jim Crow laws. Some kind of breathing room I'm thinking I'm getting into. But yet my family and I are still stuck in a impoverished place. How am I just going to leave the inner city that I'm just in and just move out? With whose money? I'm just going to leave and get this better job. With whose money? I'm going to get to a place where I'm automatically going to get into a community that's built for me to make money. With whose money? I don't have it. So therefore, I'm stuck in the twilight zone. And your comparison of the census is not going to help me at all. That's why I don't like those numbers of trying to show poverty numbers, because they don't help me understand what I'm supposed to do to get to where I'm supposed to be.
I'm trying to make you understand.
He got the black. Hey, let Bell say he got the solution for all black people. Let's go.
Go ahead, bro.
So why, if we want to blame it on slavery, then why directly after slavery? Then why after slavery was there more fathers in the home in 1960 than in 2019?
Bruh,
and we can directly correlate.
Wait. You said why did
nothing to do with slavery?
Let them talk. Let them talk. Go. Come on, Bear. Keep going. Come on.
It's already been proven that a family with a nuclear family with a mother and a father in a home has more success for the child to have economical wealth. That's been proven.
In a two-parent home.
In a two-parent home.
True.
So now,
do you know how you get welfare?
People, that's why I keep telling people that welfare and all these other points that we love to live
Democrats. We're stuck on, wait, you going left. We were stuck on the fact of what the original question was. And you talked about the census,
the original
and the poverty.
I done lost the original question.
I'm trying to sit there and say,
blame
bruh, I ain't got, okay, so here's the thing. I don't have a two-parent household. Bruh, I don't have a two-parent household, so what am I supposed to do? I don't have it. What am I going to do? My parents divorced when I was 17. What do I do? No. You have the solution for a two-parent household should be, I don't have one. My parents divorced. What do I do?
Not the only thing. Look at the values of the families that come from West Indian blacks versus the customs and the traditions of American black families.
Okay, so we're trying to build that now
tell me
in 2020.
I know you're aware of the differences.
But we're trying to build that in
You
2020
know
right now.
how close knit of a family they are. You know how they
got
understand
but
financial wealth and
they do.
exceeding
Trying to
and
build that
sticking
now.
together.
and
Me
I
and
can't
CJ are
deny
becoming first generations.
Yeah,
for that.
so yeah,
We trying to build that
exactly.
now. Can we get 20 years to have that under our belt? Because we're still blaming something from our parents and parents' parents that did not. So here we are in 2020 trying to build it for our kids so our kids' kids can have it.
But you
we
weren't born in 2020,
yes. But I'm saying in 2020, I'm 34, so I can build from my child who's 10, 11 years old, who our kids are. We're trying to do that now is what we're trying to do because obviously we started behind.
But it's
so we
it's,
can
and,
no
but
longer blame.
But I will, and Bill, sorry to interrupt you again, but I would argue to say that it's, even though you can't differentiate the African American black from the West Indian black, but at the end of the day, we still are really the same people. And when you look at the high end, let's say the West Indian, just that side is the high end. How far is that disparity still from the average white family? So even though you're giving us a perfect example of how culture should be, which again, listen, West Indian, but West Indians, and I'm saying because you just said all the positive things about them. If it was that good, why aren't their dollars the same amount as the a white American on average?
Because
families.
West Indian blacks are 0.3% of the population. So
no, I'm just saying no.
Wealth.
I didn't say bro. I'm talking about percentages, bro. Percentage. If the average white person makes $117,000, the average white family, then the average West Indian family, according to you, because they've done everything they're supposed to be doing, and they don't complain about slavery, and they just work hard and save money and everything, they should be at the same average.
But they're not.
That's not. That's
maybe
not how
even half.
Why?
So
it should be a half, right?
So,
Bill, am I just? So what's the number? So you're saying even when black people? So you're saying even the black people, if we just completely adopt the Indian culture, then that's our ceiling, right?
So unless your population equals anywhere nearly half as much as the white population does,
Bruh,
which
I'm
you will
talking
never
about
reach,
average,
We'll never get,
bruh.
we'll never get there. You're
which
right.
you will never
right.
get because you allow
You won't.
Planned Parenthood to kill 670,000 black babies a year.
Wait, pause. Bel-Air, you're not going to do that because that has nothing to do with where we're trying to get to. We've already had that discussion.
Do you understand how to equate an average of something?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I'm a mathematician.
So as a mathematician, you should understand that if I have one person that hits $1 billion, I can cover for the 10 that made 0.
Correct.
So therefore, that would mean in a smaller community, I would have to have way more millionaires to cover for my society.
Correct.
Which that would mean at least 20%, where you would only have to have maybe 5% of millionaires in the white society to cover for that.
Okay, so basically what you
if
saying
we're gonna talk about percentages,
so basically what you're
come
saying
on,
is,
us, you know you do numbers, so tell me
numbers, but we're talking about but bruh, in the aspects of people, if we know we're not going to achieve that, then why are we fighting for the achievement?
Wow, that's exactly. So what would be the point, Bill?
What would be the point? If I'm never going to make it, what's the point? So 10,000 years from now, like you said before, I'm still going to be complaining about the same thing, come out of the same curve. Then what's the point of me even trying?
You will never get there if you continue your trend of not being able to grow your population. Not being able to build a new trend today. Not being able to get your people off of welfare. Not understanding that parents,
it's more white people on welfare though than black people.
There's more white people.
They have the higher percentage,
but not.
Come on, man. So
who has the high percentage?
Everybody.
Who has the high percentage?
All the black people. Wait. I take all the black people off of welfare.
What are they gonna do?
White people stay on welfare. What are the black people going to do for work?
That's not the point, man. We got to
What are we going to do for work? To build a legacy of money. What are we going to do for work? What are we going to do to make the money to build our wealth? What are we going to do? Where are we going to work? Please put us in a job that we can actually make the money that come off of welfare that all of us, or at least half of us, can come off. So their half can be from 50% to 70%.
You know, when everybody was so pissed off that Donald Trump kicked off at least 15% of the people on welfare, and they were like, oh, how are they going to find jobs? Guess what? Now we actually have a lower rate of unemployment than ever.
Now,
We
right
don't.
now, come on,
We
no,
have
sir.
the
No, sir.
highest number.
Now,
That's not right.
okay.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Right.
Come on, man.
We have the highest number right now. What news are you looking at? Oh my God.
You're gonna compare the last 3 months because of coronavirus.
My
You
dude
sound
breathed
just
in
like
2016.
Cortez.
that's
You
better.
sound just like
Okay,
Cortez
okay,
right now,
okay.
man.
He said excluding Corona. He said excluding Corona.
Oh,
He said
'cause I was about to
excluding
get you.
Corona. You
was
should have
about to
said
get
that
you,
to
bro.
start
Come
with.
on.
He did
I'm
not
sorry
say
I
that
had
to
to point
start
out the
with.
obvious. I'm sorry to point.
Bruh.
I didn't point out the obvious of.
Bro,
in
but
an
that's
economic
important though, because
disparity
those
right now
numbers that
is
include,
uncontrollable.
but we don't know what those numbers really are because Corona happened. We don't know the starting.
No,
point.
no, 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 no. Post-pandemic, Trump had great economic numbers. I will admit that.
Listen, man. Y'all
That's
can
what
finish
that's
the
what we
rest
loved about him. That's what all the white people. I'm voting for Trump for the taxes.
Okay.
Y'all can have
All
it.
right, gotcha. So what jobs do they have?
I'm a race
Because you
hater.
know what that
I
means.
don't know what it
Just
means.
I
because
ain't
you're
get
off of
one.
Go ahead,
unemployment. No, I just want to say, just because you're off of unemployment, doesn't mean you have a
still
job. So
haven't
what
told us
jobs
what
did
would
they
you
get?
do? We listen.
What's
already
the job? What's the job? What's the job?
What-
Because where are they working? Where are these
Okay,
people working? Because
I'm
you get
done.
kicked off of benefits, the number
I'm
goes
sorry.
down. I know
because,
that.
because I
Where
don't
are they
have
working?
every single fact. Then the fact that I did point out that would help you is irrelevant. So go ahead.
But it doesn't because
just
where
keep
are they
doing what
working?
you're doing. It's working. Keep doing what you're doing. It's working.
I
Go
said
ahead.
it was very
Bruh.
relevant.
But it was a
But
fact
it's not
that it,
because
but
when you're off of
it's a-
unemployment, where are you working? You just off
No,
the,
you're right.
the benefits.
I'm
But it's
sorry.
a-
I gotta
it's-
tell you how to get off it and where to
Hold
go
on.
to. I'm sorry. So I don't have all that.
Yeah, we want to know
because
because I tell you,
15% came off. So where they working?
I tell you, we worked for free for
If
401
I knew all
years,
the answers-
and
if
you
I
say,
had all the answers, CJ, I would run for president.
Well,
bro,
then your 15% is irrelevant because they're not working. So the 50% ain't working. They're just people sitting at home.
No, they're
Not
not.
working.
They are.
So that doesn't help our cause to build legacy and wealth. If 15% that came off are
So
sitting
if
at home.
we kicked off 15% of the people that came off of welfare, we would have 15% more of those people. So our gap of unemployment would have been higher, not lower.
So where are the people that came off welfare working?
I
to
don't
make
know
more
us.
money
I
to
didn't
take
follow
care-
them. I didn't know where they apply,
You
where
need-
they work.
Well, you need to find out because
You know what
that
Colin
obviously is
Kaepernick
not
thinking.
working. They need to stay on welfare so they can actually make money. They need to stay on there so they can actually make money. They need to stay on. That's my point. Don't
Yeah,
come
hey,
and say
you're right.
attack
You're right, Us.
on something,
You're
but
right,
you're not
Us.
bringing up something to help.
Just stay on
You're not.
unemployment, baby. Just stay on unemployment.
Stay on it. You'll get some money.
but every race is unemployment.
Stay on
though.
unemployment.
Every race
You
is
should
on that.
continue to have babies and abort them. You should
We didn't-
continue
we
to
didn't say
say,
that.
hey,
We didn't
because
say
I'm
that.
black, I'm never going to succeed. You should
We
say
didn't
all
say
that.
that.
Keep doing
We
it.
never
It's
said
been
that.
working.
We are saying that. Don't take
And
away
with
what
that-
Bel Air is saying. There's a whole
No, I'm
political
not saying I'm
party that
never
has
going to
those
succeed.
stances.
I refuse to say never. The point I do what I do because I'm trying to succeed. That's I'm not going to say that. I'm not ever going to succeed because I'm black. I never said that. I'm telling you, it's harder for me to get to point A to point B because in the middle of that, I have a broken part of 400 years I'm trying to overcome.
And
to
that's a
get to
fact.
point B.
But Bill don't.
And that's
He,
a fact.
but so okay.
I'm not
So
saying we'll get there. It's harder.
okay. So Bill, you want us to listen to your one fact, but we gave you 401 years worth of facts, and that's out the window.
Oh
now
my
because,
God. Okay.
Right? 401 years of
You're
facts, and that's
You're
out the
right.
window. But your fact is
Moving
saying,
on.
well,
You're
you
right.
just should know better and be like the West Indians, so you can have just a fraction of what the white man has. Let's go.
We
Come
on
on,
our
bruh.
final
Well,
comment.
neither
I
moving
don't
up.
want to talk
Moving
about
on.
this final comment.
Final thoughts. Gentlemen,
Ah.
this is the one that you've been waiting for. And by the way, y'all, we still friends. I still love Bel Air.
Oh yeah.
He's still going to give me some dap at the end of the show.
Nah, Bill said he done
goes-
with y'all, bro. He done.
Friends.
We love Bell.
Friends.
We love Bell. Bell know we love
Bet
him.
you
We love
us,
him.
we are not friends. We are associates, man.
friends.
I cannot stand your ass.
Moving on to the last subject. This is the most controversial subject, and I'm not apologizing to anybody about this subject because it is what it is. It was said, and now we have to face it as a complete community, not just black, but white, Hispanic, and anybody else. This is the final question that I'm supposed to lead. Sean King, one of my black leader heroes that I really enjoy, says, tear all the white Jesus stuff down because it represents white supremacy. And so I had to think about that for a second. Everyone knows I grew up. My father is a Baptist pastor, 30 plus years. I am an ordained Baptist minister, 12 plus years. And growing up in a Christian household, I saw a lot of different programs, Christian programs on television, Christian cartoons, Christian movies, like we all know, Prince of Egypt. Most of us have seen the movie with Moses. the Bible, and they were all portrayed by white people. And I looked in books that I read growing up, religious books. And in these books and these movies, in these videos, Jesus was always portrayed as white. He wasn't any other color, but white. And I visited churches, black churches, white churches. They had pictures of Jesus, white-faced, blonde, long hair. I've read a lot of slave narratives and a lot of slave documentaries and a lot of slave books and watched a lot of videos. And every time Jesus was talked about, he was talked about as a white man with long hair. His picture was, everything about him was white. And I had to think about what Sean King said, because at first I was like, that man crazy. Ain't nobody. And I had to think in my head, because of that image, I always saw Jesus for the longest as white. Because down south, that's pretty much what you see everywhere. And I had to think about it in order to keep me connected to your idea of who he is, because I didn't learn to read or write. Somebody taught me to read or write. There's no way that I could, as a slave master, bring you in and we're worshiping this Jesus that's not white. I need Jesus to look like me so you can understand when I put the scripture on you, servant, obey your masters in the Lord. You understand just like I'm white, the Lord is white. And therefore, because of that, we have created the stigmatism, these pamphlets, these memorials in churches, these videos, these movies have been white. And I thought about it. Sean King is on to something. Because this country has always shown him in a way that we know, physically speaking, he cannot be. There's no way. So he's not wrong. I would not say tear them down, but what I would say is we need to educate those that still have it up. You need to remove that. But us in the Black community, we need to just go ahead and take it down. Because there is no way we should be putting images up according to even the scripture. God said in Exodus, thou shalt have no other gods before me. But he went a step further. He said, and don't make any graven images. Bring them down. Because it's not only supremacy, it's showing that there is one place, one person of one color that's more important than anything else, because we dominate this place called the United States of America. And because I'm the minority, this is what you need to think he looks like. And I know other races have what they feel he looks like based on race. But other races didn't say and use the Bible to enslave me to think this is what he looks like and this is the character I need to follow. I've always preached character over color, because I can have a disparity with your color, but I cannot have a disparity with your character. Gentlemen, what say you? Tear
You
down?
took it from you went in. You have a lot of different angles. But all I have to say is I learned about Jesus a long time ago on a show that a lot of people may know from Good Times. My man JJ. Dynamite. He had took the painting of Jesus and he painted a black Jesus. And his mama was mad and there's like, how you dare paint Jesus black? Something like that on a crazy app. But the painting was dope. I wanted it. But
Remember that.
I say that to say, Jesus said, do not make any images, any paintings, or whatsoever of me, and it's in the Bible. But yet people still went on and did it. But yet people attack the Bible and saying it's not false. But once again, we bring up another issue where clearly we have to let people know, hey, guess what? The Bible was taken and people did whatever they wanted, no matter what. So we have this white Jesus. We have all these different kinds of Jesuses when, I mean, at the end of the day, it's never what he wanted.
Never. Oh, it's never what he wanted. Next person, speak.
I'm part of the silent minority.
CJ, you on mute, just BTW.
No, it's not.
I was waiting
Now
on Bill
he's
to go.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Bill.
I'm part of the silent majority. I know where my power lies, and it doesn't lie yelling on a panel with people who are never going to agree.
That's not true.
I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make him drink. So I have my views. I don't think that Jesus was ever used to enslave anyone. My recollection of Jesus was he's my savior, regardless of what color he was. If you want to put a black Jesus in your home,
Hold up.
No, let him finish. Let him finish. I need to hear this because he led wrong, but he led. Go ahead.
Here we go, man. I got nothing to say. I'm done with the show.
Well, Bel Air, my number one thing.
No, I got nothing
He's
to say.
pulling the. I thought he was pulling the CJ. I thought he was
Yeah.
about to walk off. My number one thing is the number one thing that we see throughout the Bible is slave master, slaves obey your slave masters. That is in the Bible. You have to obey. That's all I was.
CJ, tear it down, leave it up.
I'm all for. I'm not down for tearing any. I don't think any image of Jesus needs to be torn down. I think it should be replaced or updated to be a little bit more. A little bit more.
That's the most contradicting shit I've ever heard.
No. Because if
Like a resume.
like if you're gonna have a picture of Jesus, why not have a picture that's closer to what he actually looks like?
So they need to
instead of-
update the models.
They should just update. So I mean,
Agreed.
I can understand when somebody be like, I mean, even in the black home, they got the white Jesus up. Like you would be like, you crazy if you think you walk into people's house and tearing down Jesus. But if you kind of just show people and tell people, hey, historically this is inaccurate. Do you know that he looks just like Pope Alexander's son? That's where this depiction of Jesus that we have has come from. So do we know exactly what he looks like? No, but we know he don't look like that. So with that being said, I'm all for. I'm not asking nobody to get rid of Jesus out of their home. I'm not asking nobody to tear down nothing they got about Jesus. Because again, and a lot of black people argue this, color doesn't matter. A lot of black people say they just love the teaching. So there are people who see that symbol and don't see the color, which I feel like that's another problem, but that's for another day. But we should at least, you should go out of your way to make it historically accurate. And if you're not, take it to your bedroom. I mean, I don't need to see it. Doesn't need to be in public view. Just like Germany doesn't wave the swastika or have statues of Hitler, we shouldn't have any statues of the Messiah depicted incorrectly. Even like, and as you guys have stated, he said multiple times, don't have any images and stuff like this of me. And not only do we have them, the majority of them are wrong.
Right. And that's the point. I wasn't saying, and that's what I'm glad.
Somebody said woo in the background.
We're not saying Sean King, the way he's saying tear it down. I wouldn't say tear down because I'm not trying to destroy anybody's property. But I like what CJ said with updating. And I like the fact of what Bel Air said, my relationship is not based on color, because it is not. However, these false images that we continue to show in places, it gives people the idea that this is what the Christians today believe. And I'm here to say that we do not. I applaud churches that have no image of anything in Jesus in their church. They simply have the simple places of things that they do symbolic, but there's no picture of him. I applaud that, because that lets me know you're trying to go past the thinking of a look, and you're trying to get to the heart of the matter of what you should teach people, which is the character, not the color. And I don't want to get into the disparities of the Bible and the disparities of religion, all this. I'm glad, because we all have our different views on that. That's a whole 4-direction, north, south, east, west we can go. But what we want to say is Sean King was not wrong. His delivery, because everybody's tearing everything down, would not be good. Because I don't want to see nobody tearing no church down. That ain't their church. I don't see nobody going into, in Brazil and tearing down that huge statue that's been up there all those years, just pull it on down, But I do think we need to have an educational value of, hey, let's update this thing. Let's understand what this is. Let's not keep making these graven images and telling people this is what he looks like, because for so long, the idea of his look has been shoved in our eyes more than the heart and the character that needs to be in our heart. So I agree. It's all about the heart. With that being said, final thoughts. CJ?
I always got to go first. Final thoughts. I think it was a great show. I think that we hit on some points and said some things that people wanted to be said, and seen some views that we might not necessarily agree with, but we can't discount because fact is fact and emotions can't overweigh fact.
Right.
But with that being said, people just do the right thing, arm yourselves, train yourselves. Just do what you got to do to make it day by day. Don't live in fear. I know it's easy to say, but don't live in fear and love your brethren.
There.
I want to thank our audience for.
You got both mics on.
I'm sorry. I just want to thank our audience for showing up. Thank you for taking the time to see our opinion, and that's it. Hope to see you guys next week.
Ryan.
I honestly wish Bel Air said more because let me turn this light on. A lot of people beat my brother up, but I uplift my brother because I know where he come from is from the right intent of heart. And I want everybody to know that this Speakeasy panel is coming from the right intent of heart. Is for all people of color to strive better. And all I want to say is a couple quick numbers that I got. We are experiencing voter suppression, depression, and voter elimination. So we have to come together to strive because our voting booths went from 3,600 opening booths to 200.
I thought it was 38, bro.
3,800. And Trump came out on Friday and said the Democrats is behind this home renovation ballot that we're trying to do. We're mailing ballots from, I don't want to get into Democrat versus Republican because we don't really fool with any of them. But what I want to say is this crazy stat is that in the major East Coast cities, we spend 11 cents per dollar on youth compared to 31 cents per dollar for cops. That's almost 66% more. Okay, that's youth. There's also statistics. We spend $41 million per physical cycle on medical bills.
Crazy.
This is the East Coast. I'll give you the city. This is out of Baltimore. So you can look at it in regards to most of the East Coast. In Baltimore, they spend $41 million on medical bills, procedures, laws, whatever. CJ, what do you think the amount that's spent on cops? I won't even make you guess because you're not going to get close. 41 versus $509 million to the cops. And y'all wonder why we talking about police reform and defund. And that's all I got to say.
My final thoughts. I thank you, gentlemen, of course, always for this post. And my final thought is simply this. I watched a 60-minute episode today of some young kids in Kansas. They were debating in their classroom, 16, 17, 18-year-olds debating the Confederate flag. Should it be allowed to be flown or not? And I learned something today from these kids. I always knew that hate and love are taught in the household. But when you talk to a kid that's on the bicuspid of removing themselves from adolescence and becoming an adult, the main thing that I learned from these kids with this Confederate flag is they have no idea what it stood for. None of them had any idea in Kansas, and none of them had any kind of Southern roots of the hurt and the pain and the shame that the Confederate flag stood for. So I'm entering this on maybe a controversial thought, but again, I don't care. I don't want the flag flown. People debated on the U.S. flag and how its roots go. People debated on other flags and how its roots go. But for 5 years, the four of us that looked like this were under a Confederate rule. So we were whipped, beaten, kids taken away from us, slandered, hurt, pain, and everything under that flag in the name of fighting the North so they could continue to spread the slavery message throughout the rest of the states. My people, you've heard it from Ernest first. If you have a Confederate flag, that is not your Southern heritage. Your heritage consists of pain, hurt, anger, and shame. Get rid of it. Fly the U.S. flag freely, because that says all 50 states are created equal. That shows love and support. And if you want to add another flag to it, add the Juneteenth flag to it, because we love stuff like that. Y'all, it's been nice. It's been a blessing. And it's been wonderful. And until next week, we out of here.
We out here.